So you want to form an LLC in Texas. Well, there's two ways to do it: directly with the state through their website, or by using a third party. For an easier, faster, and simpler process, I highly recommend InkFile. You can follow along with me by clicking the link in the description below. If you choose not to use InkFile, don't worry. I'll leave a link to the state website as well. The questions are exactly the same, so please choose one of them so you can follow along. The website should look something like this. Let's click on Start My Business. The first thing that we need to do is choosing our entity type. Let's choose LLC, or Limited Liability Company. Then we're going to choose the state we're going to form this business in. Today, it's going to be Texas. Texas is one of the most expensive places to form an LLC. As you can see, the state filing fee is $300 just by itself. So if you go to the Texas Secretary of State website to form an LLC, it's going to at least cost you $300, which is the same price as the silver package. However, I like to choose the gold package because it has a couple of benefits that save me a ton of time. The first is a whole year free of registered agent services. We'll talk more about that in a minute. The next thing is an EIN. Getting an EIN directly with your LLC paperwork makes life so much easier than going to the IRS in addition to. We also get an operating agreement, which is mandatory for every LLC owner. And last but not least, we get an awesome dashboard within InkFile where you can look at all of your business documents and make sure that you never lose them. I love being able to log in whenever I need to grab my articles of organization or my EIN paperwork. We're going to select the gold package and move forward. The first thing that you need to do is put in your name and mailing address. This is not the name of the business. This is your name and your mailing address. This is not going to be public record. It's just an address that InkFile needs to have on file so that it can send you the paperwork if it needs to. We're going to go ahead and fill that out now. Let's hit next. Texas can take up to 4 weeks to file your LLC paperwork. If you want that process sped up, you can pay InkFile to go physically turn it in for you, which will speed up the process quite a bit. Up to you. I'm patient, so I'm going to choose the 4-week filing time. Now we get to the fun part, naming your LLC. Hopefully you've already chosen a business name that isn't taken, but if you need to learn how to do that, check out this video because I go over it in great detail. Once you have a name selected, go ahead and type it in here. Next, we need to select the designator. The designator is the letters that go after the LLC name, such as LLC or Limited Liability Company. I almost always choose LLC because it's the simplest, has the least amount of characters, and it's much harder to misspell. Now we're going to choose the number of members in your LLC. If it's just you, you can select one. If there's more than one of you, you would put that number here. Now we're going to write down our business purpose. You don't need to spend a lot of time on this. Short and sweet is totally okay. For us, we're going to go with educational consulting. This next box is your NAICS code, which is a number that identifies what industry your business is in. We're going to type in educational consulting and choose that as our NAICS code. You will need to use this code when you go open up a business bank account to tell them what industry you're in as well. So it's important to learn it now. This next part is my favorite thing about InkFile: business address. Normally, a lot of people use their own address as their business address. The problem with that is that it exposes your home address to the public. One bad customer interaction and you're gonna have a bad time. That's why I like to pay InkFile for a virtual mail service. What they do is provide an address for you in your state, in this case in Houston, Texas. Whenever that address gets mail, they'll open it, scan it, and email it to you. You can choose whether you want it forwarded to you or if you just want it shredded. Either way, it is totally worth the $29 a month because now I can pick up and move without ever having to change my business address. It can stay constant and I can live anywhere in the world. This right here is what makes InkFile totally worth it. I'm going to select yes and go to the next screen. Great, premium service package. Do you want it? Do you need it? Do you need a website? I don't. I already know how to do all this stuff, so I'm gonna hit no. But if it's something you're interested in, feel free to opt in. We now have to enter the information about each member in this LLC. If it's just you, all we need is your information. But if there's more than one of you, then we're gonna have to put in everybody's information here. You have a couple of options here, by the way. You don't have to use your address here. You can use the address provided by InkFile to continue to remain as anonymous as possible. I'm gonna choose InkFile's address, fill in my name, and move on to the next field. Ownership is the last question. If you have more than one person, this is where you would determine who gets what percentage of the company. That percentage will be reflected in the operating agreement. In this case, it's just me, so I'm going to leave it at 100% and click on next. I told you we'd talk about registered agents in a few minutes. Every business is required to have a registered agent. A registered agent is a person or a company that can accept mail on your behalf during business hours Monday through Friday. If the government sues you or needs to get you some important information, they don't want to go track you down while you're sipping Mai Tais on a beach in Bora Bora. They want want to be able to get you the information without having to worry about that. And that's why we're required to have registered agents. You can be your own registered agent. There's nothing wrong with that. It just exposes your address to the public. I personally like to pay InkFile to be my registered agent for me. This way, if I move houses or go to another place, or if I want to go on a long vacation, I don't have to worry about a thing. To me, the peace of mind of being anonymous is worth $129 a year. That's the cost of doing business. I'm going to select InkFile to be my registered agent, and then we're going to hit next. Awesome. Now we're at the EIN section. This is where InkFile gathers your information to get an EIN for you. An EIN is an employer identification number. It's like a social security number for your business. It allows you to open up a business bank account, build credit, and separate the business from your social security number. We're going to choose no, that we're not a foreign individual. We're going to use our name here, and then we're going to put in our social security number to get the EIN process started. When it comes to choosing a physical address for the person that owns the EIN, you can choose to use your home address here. This is not going to be public record, but I like to have everything wrapped up under one address, so I'm going to use the address that InkFile's provided for us. On the next screen, they're going to ask you if you want to get involved with Bank of America for a business bank account. I personally am not a fan of Bank of America. I like to work with local credit unions so you can build a relationship with your banker, or I like online banks that allow you to set everything up from a laptop. If you do choose to go with one of the bigger banks, I recommend Chase, as they are the largest and they talk to everybody. But if you're a Bank of America fan and you're already there, go for it. I'm gonna hit no this time and select next. You want a free tax consultation? Go ahead and opt in. This is what I teach to my students, so I'm gonna hit no. Awesome. InkFile found 2 licenses that our business most likely needs. You can choose to pay InkFile $99 to fill these out and send them to you, or you can look them up yourself by going to your city directly and checking with your state. I already know how this process goes, so I'm gonna hit no and then next. We did it. We're at the review page. Let's make sure all of the information is correct before we move forward. The state's correct, the LLC type is correct. Let's see, our name and mailing address is correct. We have InkFile selected for our registered agent, and we get a year free. The business name is correct, as well as the LLC at the end. Our NAICS code looks correct. You're going to want to write those down to have them for later. Member info looks good. I own 100% of it. EIN and tax information is complete. Let's hit next. Wonderful. All we have to do now is submit our payment information and we are good to go. The great thing about InkFile is that as soon as your LLC paperwork is complete, you'll be able to go back to InkFile's website, log in, and have an awesome dashboard with all of your company information available for you. This means your articles of organization and your EIN, the 2 most important pieces of paperwork that you're going to get from this process. Those 2 things are going to allow you to open up a business bank account, which is the next step. Now that you're done with this process, you probably have a ton of other questions. I built a training program for new business owners called the Accelerator. It's a community where we can DM each other, post, discuss things, get access to all of my video training, my resources, my people, my Rolodex, and even my legal document. You can even ask me questions during our weekly live streams every Thursday. If you're serious about this stuff, I left a link in the description for you. Be sure to watch this video next, because getting an EIN for your LLC is the next step. But if you already did that through InkFile, you're good to go.